Welcome to SandCity Sports. I am your host, the Cape Cod Kid, artist formerly known as Andre King, and we're back again to bring you all the sports and current events news stories that you need to know. Folks, your boy running a little bit late today, per usual. So to kick off the show, I just want to give a special thanks to all the good people here at the Cape Cod Media Center, Tom Milkey, helping me to get this episode underway. Little quote of the day, if you will, kind of basic and generic. Failure to plan is planning to fail. That has been me, but again, fortunately, also a friend in need has been a friend indeed, been helped and supported. So we're happy and thrilled to get this episode underway. Woo! Goodness gracious, another wonderful, outstanding. I can't even think of the adjectives. Week in sports. I'm thinking to myself, where do I start? Where do I begin? And being a basketball guy and the NBA season getting ready to kick off in under 2 weeks. We'll start in the NBA. Obviously, football is king right now. Plenty to get to there. But I'm going to start in the NBA because there is a story that has national and international implications. Where I'm going with this. Daryl Morey, general manager of the Houston Rockets, thought by many to be one of the top 5 GMs in all of the NBA. Certainly what he has done with this roster, getting them to right on the cusp of the NBA Finals the last 2 years, battling the Golden State Warriors for Western Conference supremacy. Obviously, this last year not as close. Rockets going out in 6 games the year before, them being up 3-2, and then losing those last 2 games to the eventual champion Golden State Warriors. Daryl Morey is class. Daryl Morey is somebody who's been on the cutting edge of the analytics movement. They have a great conference here every year in New England at MIT, which he's a big part of. President Barack Obama showed up last year for the event. I can't say enough. We only have a certain amount of time on this show, but about his achievements in his relatively short career running the Houston Rockets. Nevertheless, you never know, as Forrest Gump said. Another generic quote. Life is that box of chocolates, and you never know what you're going to get. And so now, at the present tense, Daryl Morey finds himself dead center in the middle of an international controversy because of his tweet, and we'll just get into that. Okay, so season getting ready to kick off. Again, this is a great time, if you're a sports fan, but it's just great. Okay, but in respect of that, in recognizing that the NBA is a global powerhouse, we have games taking place across the globe. The Indiana Pacers and Sacramento Kings played a ball game in India, in Mumbai. Outstanding. And so the Houston Rockets are getting ready to play their games in Asia. Morey sent this tweet out when the team was actually in Japan, and the tweet was in regards to the situation that's taking place in Hong Kong. 7-word tweet, didn't really say too much in the tweet outside of, that he stands with the protesters in Hong Kong. We're going to get that graphic up for you. But the backlash has been swift, it's been pervasive, and it's been somewhat overwhelming. Okay, so you got a chance to see the tweet. We got that up there for you, but just a little bit of background. So right now in Hong Kong, there are protests that have been going on for some months. Hong Kong is dealing with a situation whereas, and I'm gonna power through the political specifics, and then we're gonna bring it back to basketball. Okay, but in Hong Kong, there's an issue in terms of legislation, whereas the government wants to be able to send some of the incarcerated, some of the people in the corrections system to China. What the government wants to do, China and Hong Kong have a contentious relationship. That is the backdrop. Not going to get too deep into the history there. Hong Kong, capitalist society, democratic society. China, again, it's a fusion, okay, between capitalism and communism as the country has shifted over the last 30 years. But one party. You don't have the democratic foundations, in the Chinese society overall. The relationship, once again, between the two nations, tense for some decades. Hong Kong has this policy. They want to send members, again incarcerated, to China. The people in Hong Kong have been up in arms protesting in the millions for months, saying that this is a way, an avenue for the government in Hong Kong to incarcerate people without merit, without cause, and then just ship them over into China's correction system, which is drastically different, and these people essentially vanish. Okay? Many people in the international community stand with those in Hong Kong, recognize the merits of the protesters of this argument, and it's a situation that is difficult, and is trying, and we're hoping that it can be resolved. So Daryl Morey, general manager of the Houston Rockets, while he is in their employ, he wasn't in Japan as a representative or on personal business. He was in Japan on professional business. Makes this tweet, and as I said, okay, talked about it a little bit, maybe I'm starting to, now we'll come to some specifics, okay? Here is what this boils down to, ladies and gentlemen. American society and Chinese society culturally can be night and day different. Where things are done here, where things are done there, night and day different. American society and Chinese society are the two superpowers globally. In this 21st century, amongst the issues that we are dealing with as a human civilization, climate change at the forefront, the relationship between the United States and China is top three, if not second. Two most powerful nations, distinct differences, possibility, real possibility for conflict. There's conflict between the U.S. and China. There's going to be conflict around the world. That's the backdrop for this. Okay? And the relations between the United States and China on every level, including professional sports, reflect that. Very sensitive, very, very important. Okay. That in mind, here's what it breaks down to for me. I'm human, I'm imperfect. Many of you out there may be able to relate to that. We have flaws as individuals, and guess what? We have flaws within our families. It's just the way it is. We're going into the holiday season. Again, something to look forward to. Thanksgiving, Christmas, obviously Halloween's coming up. I've mentioned they're going to be doing an outstanding Haunted Harbor here at the Cape Cod Media Center. Check it out if you're local. But, as we move into the fall and the winter season, these events, again, in America, they define our calendar. Where am I going with this? Okay. When we get together as family over this time, it is outstanding, and it's also challenging. You know what I'm talking about. We love to see each other, and then after a while, amongst each other, we remember why it's good that we have some space in between us. All right? And so how does this relate to the situation with Daryl Morey, the Houston Rockets, the NBA in China. It's one thing if I have a critique or point something out to a family member, brother, mother, father, so on and forth. If I have something to say to them, they have something to say to me, okay? That's one thing. And it's difficult enough to handle in that regard. Now, holidays, family, friends, let's imagine a situation where not a family member, but a brother-in-law, a sister-in-law, a friend of one sibling but not another, makes a critical comment about your family. How are you? How are y'all going to carry it? That's what this situation boils down to, in essence, at its root, with Daryl Morey and his comments about the political situation between China and Hong Kong. The merits of his statement are decidedly secondary. It is the fact that an American on professional business in Asia made a critical statement about an Asian situation. And in that regard, Daryl Morey's defense is limited. Okay? Now we touched on in terms of what's going on and how the international community is viewing it and the need and the hope for progressive and positive change in Hong Kong and in the relationship overall. There, Daryl Morey, that statement and that sentiment, tremendous support. But you go into somebody else's home, somebody else's dwelling, and start telling those people about what you think, how's that going to go? Okay, and in conclusion, that is why there is a real likelihood that Daryl Morey will not, one of the best general managers in the NBA, finish this season or begin next season, as the general manager for the Houston Rockets. The NBA is a $4.8 billion industry, business. You can take away at least one of those billions of dollars, if not more, if you remove the China market. Tencent, I believe that's how you pronounce the term, is the company that owns the NBA's digital rights in China. 500 million viewers last year tuned in to watch NBA games. There's slightly over 350 million people total in the United States of America. All right? We're talking about the fundamentals of the NBA's economic model. That's what has, along with these political statements, been shaken. And again, when we're talking about revenue into when we're using billions, $1 million for all working people out there, you know how much money that is. Okay, but for these huge multinational corporations, $1 million, that's a stop at the gas station. Okay, that's a happy meal. Okay, they don't regard that too. But when we start talking billions, okay, you've got folks' attention now. All right, and when you threaten that axe, that guillotine, it's gonna fall. Daryl Morey's already made statements, kind of recognizing, that he took a very radical stance in his business capacity. NBA has done the same thing. Nonetheless, that may not be enough to move past this situation. In conclusion on this, Again, the Houston Rockets' most popular team in China, in large part because that's the team that Yao Ming, outstanding player in person, played for during his NBA career. The Chinese Basketball Association, which has since severed ties with the Houston Rockets, the president of that organization, also Yao Ming. He cannot, so it's tough. It's tough. Daryl Morey, much respect. NBA, China, we bring cultures together through sports, respect, appreciation, but there's going to be some consequences based on how this went down. And again, in conclusion, overall, what we have to recognize, beyond sports, beyond what that means to our society, the protesters of people in Hong Kong, hopefully this creates awareness, for positive change there. In conclusion, regarding the NBA, can't do, we would go on and on and on. Boy, wide open. Preseason games have been flowing. We get a chance to see. Obviously, there's, everybody feels preseason game. The Lakers do well against Golden State. They're going to win the championship. The Celtics last night played Charlotte. Taco Falls was out there getting some blocks, getting dunks. We feel like we're going to the just to start off, when we begin, it's all glory. We're all together, we're all unified. So you have a equal chance. That's how these different teams feel in the beginning. But as we've known, this NBA season is going to be nip and tuck. We're looking at a changing of the guard. This is maybe the most talented team LeBron James ever played on. People are going to get a chance to understand. I don't believe Anthony Davis is even 27. He's already been in the league 6-7 years. I think he's under 27. People are going to get a chance to really see and appreciate and recognize the MVP level player that Anthony Davis is. Has not won a championship. Hungry for that success. This team, as has been noted, they have depth. Rondo and Avery Bradley, Danny Green and Kentavious Pope, LeBron and Kuzma, Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. Obviously, Anthony Davis is there, and then you have great team guys like Jared Dudley. You have the support, and Jason Kidd is an assistant coach. So, leading narrative, the Clippers, you already know. Okay, Paul George, Kawhi, Patrick Beverly, Montrezl Harrell. They still got Lulu. Okay, looks like they're probably going to be getting. I'm saying they're going to get Iguodala under Jerry West's leadership. Doc Rivers, his ability, to coach and to strategize and to motivate, unbelievable. The Denver Nuggets, Michael Carter Williams. Let me get my 3-syllable names correct. Michael Porter Jr. has been looking tough in preseason action. If he is healthy, with that lineup under the coach there, Malone, forget his first name, we'll get that for you on the screen. Woo! They will be back in the mix. The Rockets with Westbrook and Harden. It's just outstanding, and we're going to see teams again. The competition is going to be so fierce that quality teams, Utah Jazz, loaded. Portland Trailblazers made moves, bringing in Whiteside, loaded. There's just not enough to go around. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of teams on the outside after the first round of the playoffs that in other years could have competed for a championship. In the East, top heavy, but still. Philadelphia 76ers, noted. Milwaukee, losing some pieces. And the Celtics, I'm sorry. Championship level, no. But they're going to be a tough out in the East. They're going to be blue collar. And it's going to be outstanding to see. Okay, over to the NFL, clearly. Another great week of football. It's just, again, you're seeing the NFL right now, what we will be seeing in the NBA. We'll start with the Sunday night game. Kansas City Chiefs. Your boy Patty Mahomes. Seemingly invincible. No. Indianapolis Colts, We'll get that coach's name up for you. Wow. With injuries still, that was a battle of a game. Patrick Mahomes showed why he was the MVP in his first full season and why he will win additional MVPs. The toughness that he showed, dealing with a high ankle sprain, limping the majority of the second half, was tremendous. Nonetheless, the Indianapolis Colts, again, you want to talk about moving through adversity. You lose your franchise quarterback less than 2 weeks before the season begins. A team that was top 5 to compete for a Super Bowl, and how have they responded with notable injuries on their defense? I'm at a loss for words because, frankly, this game being in Kansas City, I don't know what the spread was. We'll get that for you again on the screen. Very few people picked the Indianapolis Colts to win this game in Arrowhead, with the Kansas City Chiefs being undefeated. Now, they do have injuries. Sammy Watkins out, Tyreek Hill out. That does need to be noted, but still, Indianapolis Colts, I believe they were 3-2 coming, or they were 2-2 coming in this game. Chiefs undefeated, firepower for days. In this game, Chiefs frankly never got going. Never got started. Colts stymied them from the start. This game footage, every team, and Bill Belichick and the Patriots in particular, we'll be highlighting it, we'll be noting it, so on and forth, because 13 points total for the game. And there was that critical decision by Andy Reid to go for it on 4th and 1 when they could have kicked, defended, and got the ball back. That allowed Indianapolis to get the ball, run down some clock. A little bit of stat jazz for you. The Colts controlled the ball for 37 minutes of the ball game. Chiefs only 22 minutes. Again, something that will be noted. Mac, who's on my fantasy team, who really helped me, was just controlling the clock in the rushing game. Balance, attack. Chiefs defense, suspect last year, suspect this year. And so, as I said, you just don't know, and that needs to be noted. On the other side of the equation, in terms of teams, I have to get to this, because the Pittsburgh Steelers are 1-4. Battle of a game with the Baltimore Ravens. This team could easily be 2-3. Mason Rudolph, we are grateful and thankful that he was all right. Took a hit, a legal hit, was knocked unconscious. A very concerning scene. Medical staff was right there. Fortunately, no structural, functional, don't know what the particular, but it's a concussion. He was knocked unconscious, and we're just thankful that he was able to get back up. Walked off of the field. He's going to be out for a time. Talk about the AFC North and just a battle of a game. And the Steelers, a bounce here, a bounce there. Then they don't lose. They're second-string quarterback who had done serviceable work. And they could get this W. And instead, Baltimore kicks the field goal in OT, and now this, you look at the team, it's 1-4, and the chance to make the playoffs slim to nil. Mike Tomlin, he I mentioned it, he's represented himself well. That 1-4 record, a lot of adversity, obviously losing Big Ben for the season that he has dealt with, and even if they don't make the playoffs, based on how he's now again, there's plenty of football left. We got 11 games left, so this can go a number of different ways, and we'll talk about that. We'll discuss what's going on with the Washington Redskins. But nonetheless, if they continue to battle as they've been showing, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin should definitely keep his job and give him the opportunity to build, going forward. I hope they're able to get to something like 8-8. 9-7 is going to be difficult. But to put themselves at least in the conversation for the playoffs, might not make it, but a good showing, and then you kind of build on that as the franchise, kicks it into or moves into a different era going forward. Speaking of the haves and the have-nots, going to be a new sheriff in Washington. Jay Gruden, not much you can do, frankly. Must-win game playing the Patriots. A roster and players that have not gotten the job done. Very little consumer confidence. So many people expected it. It's come to pass. He was fired as the Redskins head coach. But, again, and speaking of people that have conducted themselves in a professional fashion, I do have to credit Jay Gruden, because many people were pointing to the writing that was on the wall. And along with that, the argument that had been made is, Case Keenum got the start against the Patriots, and went out there and did the best that he could. He lost going away. If they would have won this game, it would have been something almost like the Miracle on Ice. All right, and he still would have been on thin ice and would have not made it to the end of the season. But the point of fact is, now going into their matchup, let's see. We'll get that figure on the screen. I forget who they match up against next week, but it's certainly not the Patriots, or a Super Bowl contending team. Now they can bring in Haskins, quarterback from Ohio State, and give him the opportunity to learn on the job, same way that Danny Jones is doing in New York. The fact that he was thrown into the fire the week before has a lot to do with, why it's frankly time for Jay Gruden to move on. Haskins, just the frustration with Keenum, who they paid, a good amount of money, to be the franchise quarterback, is not getting the job done. And just how that process has not been managed, really putting Haskins in a situation, if they're going to, give the reins over to him, which they're doing, he has not put Haskins in a situation to be successful. Same way that Hugh Jackson did not put Baker Mayfield in a situation to be successful. And that's a big part of it, that both of them right now are unemployed. Okay, Patriots, undefeated. We're going to come back to the Patriots because, in terms of their strength of schedule and the weakness of it, that is something that the Dallas Cowboys are the poster child for. They got blown out at home. The commentary today on Skip and Shannon was tremendous. Yeah. Shannon, the Cowboys antagonist, Skip, the protagonist, and those first couple segments and the let me just check. Okay, we're doing what we're doing. A couple more minutes. The fury on both sides of the line between those two, it was just remarkable. But the point here is, Cowboys were down 31-3. Final score ended up being 34-24. That does not indicate how one-sided this ball game was. This is a team, again, starting off 2-2 or 3-0, excuse me. They were the favorites to make it to the Super Bowl going into last week against the New Orleans Saints. That discussion and dialogue is long gone. And the argument, against the Cowboys, not just from people that, pride themselves on being Cowboys haters, i.e. Shannon Sharp, was that their strength of schedule? They haven't played anybody. Beat the Dolphins, beat a Redskins team we now know is no good. That Giants win again with Eli, the guard has since changed. So you didn't really, beat any and now that you face competition, they've had a very, very difficult time, and the tide is completely turned. Back to the Patriots, this argument is true for them as well. So this whole talk, again, we started the season with Antonio Brown and possibly going undefeated. Obviously, that narrative is long gone, and got Stephon Diggs on my fantasy team. Moved Ertz for Diggs, young guy. I was hoping that the situation in Minneapolis would get resolved. It's not getting resolved. He's not going to get more targets. This move is going to hurt me. And there's not a very, so what does it have to do with the Patriots? He's one of the names that has been floated in terms of possible wide receivers the Patriots could get. Now, what happened today, difficult situation, just goes to show you, professional sports, feast to famine, glory to get the heck out of here. Ben Watson, cut by the Patriots, or, put on the inactive list, cleared out his locker, however the term that you want to use. And that is in large part because the Patriots need that $2 million, or, approach $2 million in salary that he was going to be guaranteed, so that they can try to go out and get another wide receiver. N'Keal Harry will be coming back. He will certainly help them. Who knows what he needs to work with? Who knows? And so, can they get an Emmanuel Sanders? Can they get an A.J. Green? Bengals being 0-5. Stephon Diggs, first year of a 5-year, $72 million deal, $40 million guaranteed. And the way that he has approached, this whole going public, very personal negotiation and situation between him and Minnesota, I just don't see them releasing him or trading him, Releasing him, absolutely not. But trading, they're going to get something in return. And the Patriots, a team that, going to trade him to a Super Bowl team, obviously you want to trade him out of the division, but, I don't think you want to form a juggernaut, which, again, Stephon Diggs, with Tom Brady, the damage, and the possibilities, the likelihood, is approaching what you would have seen with Antonio Brown. Is he as talented as Antonio Brown? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. But at whatever he lacks in talent compared to Antonio Brown, he makes up with consistency. Okay, and so that would have bridged, much of that gap between those two players. Am I missing anything in my NFL coverage? No, it's just, again, it's great. This is the time, now we're into the second quarter, and when teams are separating themselves, and the saga continues. But, in conclusion, you never know. Giants, their 2 championships, I believe they were 9-7. Baltimore, their last championship, I think they were 9-7 also. So even though we don't see what you generally see year in and year out in the game of hockey, which is the regular season and playoffs are at 2 completely different seasons. You could be an 8th seed in the regular season in hockey and make a run in the Stanley Cup Finals. Number 1 seed and go out in the first round. That happens all the time in hockey. Football, those type of narrative storylines. NBA is the same way, don't happen as much. But, let's not say that all these teams that are going to end up 12-4, 13-3, maybe even 14-2, they are a lock to win the Super Bowl. We don't know. It's fascinating in many respects. I touched on this a little bit last week. I wasn't able to it has to get the show this week. The fight between Spence and Porter was historic. I'm going there. It was historic. In terms of these great matches in boxing and bringing boxing back, quote unquote, in these battles, Spencer and Porter was just lights out. And we hope to see more and more of that. So credit to those 2 champions. That was tremendous. Some baseball coverage. Postseason baseball, it's strength. Can't say, whatever issues, people talk about, the length of the game, the season is so long, 162 games. And there are certain things, how the league is managed and marketed needs revision, frankly. They do not present, package, highlight their stars in anywhere near the fashion they should. Our commissioner in my fantasy league, Mr. Wizard, as he's known nickname, Mr. Mark Griffin. Major League Baseball needs him. They just do. Because baseball is cool. And postseason baseball is super cool. And the fact that it's not felt and remembered, even though, again, this is a different era. This is not, mid-20th century America, where boxing and baseball were king. It's a drastically different landscape, but, the basics are still the basics. More things change, the more they stay the same. You don't appreciate postseason baseball, you're not a real sports fan, as far as I'm concerned. And so these matchups are tremendous. We'll get those, going through. I know the Dodgers had a big win last night. They were down 0-2 against the Nationals, stormed all the way back to get that dub. The Astros, forget who they were battling today, missed out on Stephen A. Smith radio show because that game was on. So I did not get a chance to get to as much as I wanted to in this episode. Certainly next episode, heavy on the baseball as this postseason is underway and is tremendous in a number of regards. And it's just, again, for people like myself who are anticipating some seasonal depression, I'm glad I have the sports action to kind of hold me down, and keep me, so to speak, on the sunny side. Folks, that's going to do it. Go ahead and comment, like, and subscribe as you feel the need. I am your host, the Cape Cod Kid, artist formerly known as Andre King. We want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for tuning in to SandCity Sports, and we will certainly see you here back again the next time.
yes, we piece of souls do sedate ourselves. Just a number of this pain we feel. Yes, at times we do hate ourselves, but each day we try to retake ourselves. So yes, we piece of souls do sedate ourselves. Just a number of this pain we feel. Yes, at times we do hate ourselves, but each day we try to embrace ourselves. Yeah.